Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Two Angles on England. This is Jordan with my co-host.
It's Ryan, guys. What's up?
All right, so I have one day on the water to report about. Ryan has many more. So I'm going to go over that. Ryan will go over his aspect of fishing, and then I want to touch upon a lot of the land observations lately, the changes, and all of that, because obviously there's a lot
Oh
to
yeah,
get deep on in that aspect. And then towards the end of the episode as well, I have some art I want to share that I've been working on and some newer pieces. So yeah, let's get started here. So we're recording on Sunday again. Back to the rhythm. It's 5, I think, right now, or a little
yeah.
after.
Quarter to six.
Um, and it is pretty dang sunny out, and just about a perfect day. Honestly, it's perfect temperature, breezy, very nice weather. Yesterday, I was out on Lake Erie, and it was another just absolutely beautiful day. But with that, uh, the winds were beautiful, but they are not strong enough to do a whole lot drift wise out there. And that was one of the first things I realized, like when we were out there fishing, is that just uh, especially in the earlier morning, the drifts just were not really happening. And I looked at the wind ahead of time, and I saw, it was going to crest midday, and I was like, all right, well then maybe that's when things are going to pick up. But it was just super grindy. I can't say that we dropped any fish, which is nice, but my dad got 2 smallmouth, probably in that 3 pound range, and they were beautiful, just great spots and everything.
Yeah,
Just similar, to that one in the photo behind you with the spots and the stripes on them. So just gorgeous fish nonetheless. Both of his came on the drop shot. The bait that, or the lure that he yet again just hated up until this year. He just was like, I don't understand how to fish it. And I'm like, well, I don't, you gotta get the feel for it, man, because I know that, lo and behold, this year he's been doing work on that. So one of his quotes from fishing yesterday that I told him I would share on the podcast is, he said, you know what, man? He said, I don't believe in much when it comes to fishing, but I do believe in green pumpkin. And he was like, if they're not eating green pumpkin, then I think there's a problem. He was, no, it was just, yeah, it got us both cracking up. It's just, and I'm like, you know what, man, you're not wrong. Like,
yeah.
it looks like everything that we're like. It looks like crawfish. It looks like a goby. It looks like smallmouth. It looks like, it
It's
look.
really the only color you need when you're fishing for that and white.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
mimics, because it just mimics it so well. And so, yeah, I wanted to share that for him, and he whooped my butt. He caught two, I caught none. Uh, I and can't remember. I think his first one might have been in like 33 foot, and then the second one was 25 or 27, something like that. So, uh, the graph, which, oh yes, I shared this with you earlier, but I did not share it on here. So as soon as we launched, the motor wouldn't turn over, and haven't had an issue for forever. So I was like, all right, was it not plugged in? Like, what's going on? So uh, we ended up jumping the battery, and it did get started, and all right, that was all fine and dandy. But then as we got out fishing with the graphs, they're hooked up to our uh, cranking battery, and then the trolling motor's got its own 2 batteries. And we had the graphs running, and then all of a sudden they shut off, and I was like, oh boy, motor's dead.
Hmm.
I'm like, all right, jump the motor. I'm like, okay, we just gotta leave it running for well, obviously the whole entire drive out there we had it running, but just wasn't quite enough, I guess. So then left it running for a whole drift, and not having the graphs, it was just like a whole, for me, I'm like, all right, not having the graphs, it is what it is, I guess, as long as I know what depth we're in roughly, which I did,
Right.
cool. And it,
I mean, did your navionics work at least, or
no,
you?
I had nothing, no
Oh
graphs, nothing,
wow.
bro, nothing. So
So how'd you know how deep you were?
I had to turn the graph on every time the motor was running when we'd jump up on a new spot.
Oh,
And then, or I would, so, and on that drift, I had it on because the motor was running. So, and then, it's also very disheartening not to be able to see if there's any activity going on around you at all.
and the depths.
So,
Were you on rocks or were you on sand?
we fished a little bit of both. The
Where'd
fish
your fish come off of though?
rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
shallower, right? Like the
yeah.
25.
Well, the
Yeah,
33 to 25 is where
yeah,
33 25. So I was like, okay, well, I
yeah.
know
Without your graph, man, like like you don't need a sonar, but like because you could fish just structure
yeah.
period and catch fish without a sonar. Like
Hmm.
because as long as your graph shows you, like as long as you have navionics, you just go to
Yeah.
rock piles and shoals, and there's going to
Yes.
be bass there.
So it
Without
was,
that though, like you're
yeah.
totally dead in the water, man. Like you're
Yeah.
back to the early
For
1900s.
for sure. So that obviously did not bode well in our favor, but we were able to use the graphs at some point, and like uh, not that it necessarily helped us catch fish directly, but I guess just obviously the map, and then also having a little more confidence that we were passing over fish. It wasn't that there was just like no fish around us. It wasn't a lack of that, but just not getting bites and everything. And then also with having to have the motor running for the one drift, I was like, "There's okay. I can't say there's no way because clearly people do it. Obviously, people troll, and there's a motor running. But for me, it's just like, why, how am I going to catch a fish right now while this
Yeah,
motor's running? And then that's when my dad did catch the his second fish, and I'm like, all right, well, got to get like that preconceived notion out of my head because it's clearly possible.
yeah,
And it's clearly possible to catch fish without the graph. It's Lake Erie, so like clearly that is a much more challenging endeavor than going to Canisius Lake and trying to catch a fish without a graph. There's nothing that we can see with our eyes while we're
yeah,
out on that lake besides our land markers to
yeah,
show to, but that's only like then you're completely relying on your memory and everything as well with
yeah.
all of that. So I don't have a hand drawn map anywhere with me, like documenting like the specifics of any of that stuff. So just going off of that. So look, for the what it was, it ended up being a decent day. He caught those two. The clouds have been epic this whole week. I
Yeah.
sent you that photo earlier in the week, and they're just yeah, we've had great sunrises, sunsets, amazing clouds. Um, anyways, getting back to that was the rest of the day for me. So nothing else really to report on the fishing side
Yeah, I
of
mean,
things.
you're
I
so
did see the brook dog
yeah. I mean, because
boat
my day
pass
started.
by.
My day that day was definitely a grind. Especially in retrospect, it would have been smart to launch at noon and fish till 4 when there was actually wind out there. Because like I've said this countless times. I mean, the only way you're going to get on fish consistently when on a windless day is like to have forward facing sonar and just find individuals and drop baits directly in front of them. Because other than that, like you have to troll around or cast, and you're going strictly off of sonar. Because otherwise, you could just be blind casting out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the fish aren't worked up; they can totally see you. Like if you're in you know 25 feet of water, the fish can totally, even 30 feet of water, they can totally see you.
yeah,
Especially on a sunny day. They start seeing a bunch of boats around, and they're not stoked about that, one. And two, like the water's not all agitated. Like they'll definitely feed, but they're not worked up. Because the other important thing to consider is for the like 4 days prior, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday, Monday through Thursday, were small craft advisories
yeah.
every day, and I fished Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday out in that. Thursday I canceled my trip, but I fished in some like really huge stuff out there, and we hammered smallmouth and that big. Like when it was big, it was because it like my well. like to the overall fishing situation, like this is we didn't record last week, and now so
Yeah.
it's been a week since or 2 weeks since we've recorded, and a lot has changed in that like very very short period of time. Like leading up to that podcast, I was talking about how the following week the water column we're anticipating that the water column is going to flip, and when that does, it'll push fish into Buffalo. Um, and and that's what happened. The water column flipped. It pushed fish towards Buffalo, a lot of them. But the weird thing was about this time is when it flipped, the cold water we actually got cold water, and it stayed at the bottom. So like all the fish were suspended in like the top 30 feet of the water column, which was fun because like you could long line, and it was ridiculous action, like ridiculous for like that Monday, Tuesday, like all of the week before last was insane walleye action. It just they moved from being near the bottom to the top of the water column. And once we all figured that out pretty quickly, like everybody was firing out there, it was insane. And then starting on Sunday, everything changed. The air temperature dropped fast, and we got all like the air temperatures went down into the 60s, like 50s at night, and then we got huge southwest winds, and so it blew like all the warm water back towards Buffalo again, and that kind of scattered fish around. But it also like pushed that cold water downstream. So like our side of the lake dropped since our last podcast. The lake temperature dropped 10 degrees, or really 11 degrees. Like the river is 11 degrees colder now than it
Wow.
was the last time that we recorded. And that really happened
Hmm.
this past week, like last weekend, really. But like I was saying, like Monday, Tuesday, I had a father and son in for 3 days. I fished with them Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And Monday and Tuesday, like that prior week, hammer and walleyes. Everything was great. And then the way that this previous week worked out, or like leading up to today, I had a handful of half day trips and no walleye. Like nobody wanted to catch walleyes. It was tourists that were here like for a few days or whatever, just wanted to bend rods. And that like all my clients up until this point were solely dedicated to walleyes, and then boom,
Hmm.
I had these multi-species half day trips, and then a couple of full days mixed in. And Monday and Tuesday, it was huge out there.
Yeah.
And but that father and son, like they were totally down. And we went out there. It was like it started in 2 to 4s. It would build to 3 to 5s, and we were out there just drowning crayfish, like just totally hammering smallmouth. It was insane. It was so crazy, all on structure. And then I did that for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we got a big northwest wind. And I went out there Wednesday, and it wasn't nearly as good
Mm.
because the northwest wind was like you had waves coming this way and wind coming this way,
Mm.
and so you would every time you would hit a wave, the spray would just come right over the
Yeah.
starboard side of the boat. And so the dude like we went out in that they wanted to like I gave them an option to bail and like go to the lower, but they were down for the adventure. I was just like, well, then just show up head to toe rain pro, and because you're going to get wet, like we're for sure going to get sprayed. And we went out there like we were the only boat out there, and we picked up some walleyes off a structure. Like we were just drifting for resident fish, and then we caught a decent number of smallmouth, not a ton of them, but it was weird. Like that was the point where things started to get finicky. And then Thursday, huge southwests, like nobody could have fished through that. There were consistent 9 footers both on Erie and Ontario. Like I was watching the buoys, and it was like sevens for a long time. And it was like, but it was what it was. The
Uh,
And we finally, things calmed down a little bit on Friday, and we did well out there. And then yeah, Saturday fished the lower, which was horrible.
that's
And then
a
today I
shame
fished
to hear.
I
Yeah.
fished Erie again for walleyes, and they were much deeper than where I was catching them before,
Mm.
but they're there. So it's just been a whirlwind, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've had like just like you said before, it was like Saturday and today, things finally like chilled out, and leveled out. So it's been fairly calm, and it's going to stay this way Monday, so tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday,
Mm.
and then big winds coming again. But like we turned to fall like that. Like the temperatures dropped fast, airtime like daytime highs dropped really fast. I mean, like I'm going out in the morning in hoodies
Yeah.
and or jackets, and that shock in water temperature may or may not have had an effect on the bass. But I think like once after the stable period, they're just going to get crazier and crazier. Because the one thing that I did notice about the bass, which you said earlier, is they don't look like people have been beaten on them. I think a lot of people have been walleye fishing this year and have
Mm.
left the smallmouth alone because all the
Nothing
fish
wrong
that
with
I
that. Yeah.
like, yeah, no doubt. I
Yeah.
think I don't know if that's the case. It's
Yeah.
because I'm one of them, like so I
Yeah.
didn't catch a bunch.
Yeah.
I stayed on walleyes the whole time, and most charter captains that I know did the same because the bite was just so crazy. It
Yeah.
was it was
Can't
not
miss
to
out.
miss.
Yeah.
Um, so they all looked super healthy and solid. It was really cool, and like that their fights were, man, they were just digging like blasting out of waves. Like I'm talking, these fish would just bzz, like and just shoot and land. Nuts. But then you saw what happened. As soon as
Oh
the waves went
man.
away, they're just like, yeah. I mean, so they definitely feeding frenzied for a few days. Like 4 days, they were in a constant frenzy and just agitation, and then everything just like sunk, and there was very little movement. And yeah, it's just tough. It's tough to get bit in those conditions.
I'm itching to get out there on one of those days
Yeah.
again, dude. Those
Oh,
are
we
just
will.
epic, epic days out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
we will. I mean, so then the other thing is we talked about this before the podcast briefly. Like, dudes have already caught brown trout off the
mm,
fishing platform, the NIPA platform, and I for sure have seen kings porpoise on the bar, and so I mean, like Salmon Rivers had fish for a while. Like we definitely are getting some staging kings, and it's not that's not like super early. Like it's a lot of water temperature
yeah.
dependency. But like when I used to fish up in Devil's Hole a lot in the fall, my first fish that I ever caught was September 4th on a crankbait. And
Wow.
but there
Okay.
were a bunch. So like we're right at the doorstep of that,
Yeah.
and
Seriously.
and like
Wow.
the when I was on the bar today, because I fished the bar like early this morning and then fished Erie for walleyes the afternoon. When I was on the bar today, there were for sure. I'm not 100% positive, but I was marking giant fish
Hmm.
while I was drifting harnesses through or like pulling harnesses through there, and I marked a lot of them. Never got bit. If those are walleyes, they would have definitely bit. The only thing that I think they could be are staging kings hanging
Mm.
out and they're just getting ready to shoot up the river. So that's gonna this nice period of stability that we have through Wednesday. I'm gonna fish salmon and brown trout for the next couple of days, and then I'm going hard pivot back to walleyes, and I'm staying on walleyes for a long time.
Nice. Nice.
Now,
Yeah. Good change of pace for a little bit.
yeah,
And, yeah.
yeah. So we'll see.
Nice.
But that's the fishing update, man.
Awesome, man. Sounds like you've had an adventure of a week. So as for the land stuff that I wanted to bring up, so I've been hiking throughout the week, and we had a lot of rain and much cooler temperatures. And as I'm walking, looking at the leaves and the trees and everything, like there is quite a bit of color
Yeah,
variation. Like there's some yellows popping. I even saw some
I
oranges,
saw reds on
some
the
red. Yeah, I
lower.
was just gonna say, yep. And I saw some reds too. Uh, just I'm like, wow, this is and even every morning now I'm waking up, I'm walking outside of my apartment and I'm seeing like a few more like dead leaves rustling on the ground. I'm like, all right. I mean, it's just
The big
like,
stat, man.
and what we've talked about it, and we've both written about it as well. Is just like it's not like it's not. It doesn't matter what the calendar date is. You know, like it's just like it's truly just all about the other factors.
Yeah.
Like it could be if it happened, it could have been 2 weeks ago in August and had these conditions lined up and it stayed like then we would be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see that, and you know everyone has had their well, I work with the public sector, so everyone's had their own reactions to this. Oh my god, like fall's here already, summer
Yeah.
never even, and I'm like,
I mean,
okay,
it's
all
Labor
right.
Day weekend, man. I
Yeah,
mean, like school starts
yeah,
soon, so it's basically the end of the summer in
for
most
sure.
people's eyes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, all right, well, this rain's filling up the creeks. We need that. It's dry. We need that. Cool down the water temps. We need that. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm completely accepting of that, and all the things that come with that. Steelhead, Browns, Lakers,
Yep.
salmon, like everything, dude. Uh,
It's gonna be a
and
wild fall,
yeah,
hopefully.
man, and yeah, and especially like now, like. Reference for a lot of the art that I'm doing as well. Like I'm looking forward to that, and even with the birds, like I'm doing my best to get a lot more different shots of the birds that I want to be drawing and everything as well. So I have like my own personal reference materials to work from. And then also going back to the land observations as well. A lot of right now again, like we're leading into the fall, like a lot of different fruits are becoming available
Yeah.
out there, and a lot of different acorns are dropping like crazy, and like all of this, squirrels are running rampant already. The birds are going nuts. It's like they know, it's getting to be that time. So uh deer, I can't honestly say that I have seen a buck in months now. So I have no idea where they're at with their antlers. I don't know if you have any update, if you've seen any
No, I
bucks
mean
lately.
I've definitely seen it more recently than
Yeah,
that, and they've had
yeah,
substantial racks going,
yeah.
but
All still velvet. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So got a little bit on that. Trying to think of any. I saw a great blue heron yesterday, so that's always awesome. Oh yes, the bird observation of the week. The when I was at Sheridan, I sent you the photo of
yeah,
those clouds. The I saw this bird perched up, and I was like, all right, I know that this is not something I see frequently. And at first, I was like trying to convince myself it was a cormorant, and I was like, "There's no way." I'm like, the neck on this thing's longer. It cormorants, they sit like they're fanning
yeah.
their armpits. Like this was not sitting like that at all. And I'm like, okay, the feet aren't the same color, so I'm like walking slowly, like at an angle away from it, like slowly, but just kind of getting close. And I'm just taking 100 photos to try and just get like a few good ones. Like,
Hmm.
and I did get one, and I sent you. Not an amazing photo by any means, but a green heron, correct? That's what
Green egret.
green egret.
Yeah,
Okay, green egret. Yes, green egret. Um, but
yeah,
yeah,
and I've looked at that photo, and like you said, it's like highly pixelated because of the distance
yeah,
that you
yeah.
were away from it. But
When I looked up the other photos, I was like, yeah, that
yeah,
looks, yeah.
it definitely was one, but I think it was like a fledgling. Like I think
Mm,
because it didn't have much of a tail on it.
mm,
It just
yeah.
because it that's a weird place for. They're usually wary birds, man. Like they
Mm,
don't like they roost over on motor, but there's a bunch of nests. I mean, I don't know how many, but there's
yeah,
multiple nests over there, and it's because it's away from people.
yeah,
They can, and they have some like over by Buckhorn too. There's a few, but to see one perched up like at a busy boat
yeah,
launch, at least, I mean, people can correct me, but I've never seen that before.
yeah.
Maybe at like right at nighttime or something,
Mm.
they might show up. If bait comes into the boat launch, they
Yeah, I mean
might
that
perch
that
there.
was more in the evening too, so yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably what he was doing, just picking off the bait and everything.
but
But it was
because there was
cool,
no
like,
tail though, and like the
yeah,
feathers were super like pretty puffy,
yeah.
it looked like a younger bird, but
Mm. All right.
super cool though.
Yeah, it was dope. Yeah. So that's pretty much that's the only really major bird observation I've got as of late that stuck out.
Yeah,
Anything for you this week?
no.
Weather's been not.
Cormorants are like all their fledglings. I mean, they're starting to load up
Mm,
the walls in the
yeah.
harbor. Like there's thousands and thousands of them.
Mm.
And like all the terns, like the baby terns, they're flying around learning how to hunt. So there's a ton of terns around.
Oh, still seeing monarchs. That's the other
Yeah,
thing I
yeah,
wanted to
monarchs are
mention.
definitely
Yeah,
popping.
yeah, that's just yeah, always awesome to see. Was this? I might have said this on the last podcast, or I don't recall, but I'll say it again anyways. Um, I can't. I think I was walking into work and I saw this monarch and I was like, "Oh wow, that's amazing!" And I saw this bird full steam ahead come like whipping for it, and it missed it like completely.
Didn't bother
Like
turning and try to get
no, and it just went, and I'm like, that was freaking awesome, and I'm
it.
happy that for that monarch, you know. But it was just like, what's that like? Nature is metal, like or
Yeah,
whatever. Like that was. I was like, oh wow, that's sweet. Because I've never like I can't say I've ever seen like a songbird like hunt like that, like a bug like that. I've seen them like
not
picking
something
at
that
the
big.
ground or
Yeah.
yeah, you know. Um, yeah, so that was pretty neat. Hmm. I don't know if I've got any other observations as for the land or the
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and it's like not. I mean, after like 4 days of just chaos,
yeah, much
you
cooler
know,
temperatures. Obviously,
yeah,
it's
like
been getting down to the
everything,
50s at
everything
night.
hunkered down. So I
Yeah,
haven't. There's been nothing new other than just seeing a lot more young birds, trying to do their thing.
yeah.
They're starting to stack up and get ready to fly
Hmm.
and head south. So, but yeah, it's the drop in temperature like put us ready for fall, but
Yeah,
like come on, man, like it's the 31st of August right now. Like
yeah,
let's let this weekend get past us, and once we're weeks away from like pure awesomeness,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
No doubt.
just like a little taste of it right
Yeah,
now.
time to
So
get ready for that. Yeah, and with that, figuring out maybe what the potential issue is with the boat batteries again. So I got
yeah,
to look into that. But before we wrap up the episode here, um, got a few. Yeah, did I share this one? Did I share this on here?
no,
Okay. So I've got a few I want to share with you. So we had the sturgeon moon, however the last full moon we had, however many weeks ago that was. So I did this colored pencil piece for that first sturgeon I've ever drawn really as well. So that was pretty cool. I'm enjoying that one. I'm not sure those ones yet. Ooh. I'm very, very happy with this one. It's
yeah,
still got quite a bit more work to go, but this is a pastel one of one of the brown trout I caught out in Montana, and very, very stoked with how that one's coming along. A little bit more work to do on the water, and then this one I'm also really freaking stoked about and can't wait to get it
uh,
done. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So very stoked. Cannot wait to get that piece done with all the rocks and everything in the background. So yeah, man, I'm definitely getting stoked as I'm looking at all these fish and I'm doing all this these pieces of these fish and the birds and everything. I'm like, every time I go out, I'm seeing the birds and I'm like, oh, this is exciting and just helping with that connection, like to help
oh
me
yeah,
create those. And then now also with the fish, I'm like, dude, I have all right, everyone, okay. It has been 3 years since I've caught a steelhead.
what?
Yeah, dude, 3 years, and that is not for a lack of me going out either.
Yeah,
Not that I've really hit it hard, but I have gone out quite a bit, I guess. So I don't know what stank I got with the steelhead going on, but we got to break that.
hey, we'll have to get out in December
I haven't
sometime.
caught a salmon in multiple years as well now, so I want to catch. I got to get a salmon. I'm freaking dreaming of a laker with an orange belly. Like I'm dreaming of catching that fish. Like that would be like the top notch experience for this fall for me
Yeah,
to catch that and be able to have that for some reference as well. But with that, and speaking of fall, I've got two other pieces that I want to share that are available if you would be interested in purchasing them, you can either message me or drop a comment or something, and we'll get back to you. But these are two pieces that I did in the fall theme. So the first one is a steelhead that I did based on, I think the steelhead was caught on 18 Mile Creek, but then I kind of wanted to set it more on like the lower Niagara backdrop almost. So there's that one available. So this is acrylic on canvas, and pretty happy with that one. Got a nice variety of good color there on the steelhead. And then this one, I mean, man, what's the next fish? If you're gonna do a steelhead and you're gonna do another fall fish, the smallmouth. So another one, acrylic on canvas, the smallmouth. So both are available if you are interested. They're $44 each. So just if you're interested, hit me up. But yeah, thanks for viewing them. Pretty happy with how they came out. And yeah, hope you enjoy them. So that's
Nice work,
that.
bro.
Thanks, brother. That's that. Yeah, tight lines. Hope everyone gets out fishing this upcoming week. Enjoy this nice weather that we have, and whatever adventures it might hold, hiking, fishing, whatnot. So, all right, we'll catch you later.
See
Peace
ya.
out.